So finance is a word which is derived from the Latin word, okay, which means end or finish. So it can be interpreted as fund, money, investment, capital. You need to start any business, or you need to start something. You need to have the basic resource which you should possess is money. So how do we acquire these resources? From where are we acquiring the resources? How are we utilizing this? It's very important. We need to understand that. The traditional approach was, in the olden days, the definition was restricted to from where are you acquiring the sources, the finance, the sources of finance. But now in the modern approach, it is not only acquisition, utilization is also very important. So it talks about how, from where are you getting the money? How are you spending the money? Means, how do you manage your funds? So the source of finance and how do you do? So this is what we are going to discuss the later chapters. So once we look at the definition as such, you look at Ivan Thompson definition, which talks, which means whose implications affect both individuals and business organization states what it has to do with obtaining and using money or money management. So we are basically talking about money management. What did Henry Ford say? Henry Ford's definition is, it is an arm or leg which one can either use it or lose it. Means you have to use it, right? You can't just lose it, without which it will not be done. And frankly, when we talk about it, is the management of monetary affairs of a company. Means dealing with money, basically finance. Finance management, managing finances. So when I talk about the nature, it refers to that activity which goes with planning, controlling the financial resources. Means from where you are able to get it, why is it needed, right? And how are you going to raise these funds, from which source? And depending upon the availability of the capital structure, how are you going to even spend these resources is very important. So when I talk about the financial management, it deals with procurement of funds and their effective utilization of business. So money, we have seen the definition of finance. Financial management deals with procurement of funds, effective utilization. That is what it's talking about. How, from where are you getting it? How are you getting it? How are you utilizing it? Is very important. Means, why do we have to study it? Suppose I say I get something at a higher rate than what I give. Surely I will be under loss. So this management is needed. From where I'm getting, what is the source I get? What is the amount which I have to pay them? And how am I going to spend it? Utilize it. So if my return, when I'm utilizing it, if the return is very high, surely I will be in profits. Otherwise, I will run under losses. So this is something which deals with financial. This is the thing, basic thing. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Any query, ma'am?
No, ma'am, we are listening, ma'am.
Right. So this is basically needed to understand how do we utilize the source of resource, how do we utilize the money. Then when I talk about the scope of finance, scope of financial management, first is the financial requirement. First and foremost, how much money do we require? Let it be a short term or a long term. Short term, how much do I require it in the short term? That is your regular day-to-day business. How much do I require? And in the long term, for sustaining the business, how much do I require? So financial plan, that should be an estimate of the funds accurately, to see that the organization runs smoothly. And then formation of the capital structure. Formation of capital structure is deciding the quantum of funds, which have to be raised. Pardon?
Ma'am.
Pardon?
Screen is not clear, ma'am. Yeah, little bit, ma'am. Okay, fine. Right, ma'am.
Right. So after, once you know the formation of capital structure goes with, once you know how much funds you require, right? What is the business which you want to be in? The organization you plan for? What is the amount of funds which you require? Then we should understand, how do I raise the finance? How do we raise the capital? Which source? There are a number of sources where we can raise the, it can be short term, it can be long term, right? So what are the various sources from which I want to raise the funds? Because remember, for every source of fund, you have a cost to it. Every source of fund, there is a cost. Nothing is free. For every source, there is a cost. So you have to first plan out the business. What would be your return? Based on the return, which source you have to raise. Otherwise, you will not be able to match your expenses and your revenues. Then, what are the sources of finance? When I talk about the source of finance, when I talk about the sources of finance,
It
what
will be
from which source I want?
short
Pardon?
term and long term finance, ma'am.
Pardon?
Short term and long term finance.
Yes, short term and long term. So short term, what could be your instruments?
Mm,
In short term, you can maybe you take a loan from your friend, or you want to take a bank loan for a short period, right? Or you want to go with some creditors. This would be a short term. But long term, I want for a say period for 10 years, 15 years.
yes, and
Then how would I raise?
shares.
Right. Even the medium term, I can take about the debentures. But I want to go for a long term. Yes, I can do it either by equity share capital or a preference share. Is it, if it is above 5, how do I go? Is it debentures? Are they good enough? So this we would do in detail in our sources of finance. Then choice of the investment plan. This is all your scope. So investment plan is, what is the choice of, from what is the utilization of this fund? You have understood the, from where you are getting the funds. How are you going to utilize it? How are you going to allocate it? As I told you, the allocation of funds should be every time on a higher rate than the source where you are acquiring. That should be the concept to be kept in mind whenever you are going to invest. Then the cash management. Cash management is, you require, every time cash management is a trade-off. I'll tell you how. You need two basic things to be taken care of. One is your fixed, one is your working capital. Working capital is the day-to-day. Suppose I take, for example, you get a monthly salary of 30,000. In 30, if you say for your expenses, say you want to, you pay for your rent, or you have to live, right? So cooking, everything you keep aside, say 15,000. 15,000 may again 5,000 you keep for your other expense, 10,000 you want to save. Okay, so 10,000 you're saving, 20,000 you're spending. Now, suppose you say this saving is long term, the spending is working capital. Yes, saving is fixed capital. Now, when you're saving and you're spending, when I talk about the spending, suppose increase your spending, say from 20 to 25, what will happen? From 10 to 5,000, your fixed capital will come down. Are you able to get me?
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Right. Your fix will come down. Now, suppose you say you want to increase your fix. Say that is 15. You have to decrease your capital expenditure. So every time there's a trade-off. You once see this is, you concentrate on fixed, working capital will be a problem. Working capital, fixed capital problem. So we have to find out a right way of balancing the working capital and the fixed capital, which is very essential. This cash management, yes, we do have working capital management and the capital budgeting, which we would do as separate chapters. All the points I'm discussing now would be a separate unit further. Then how are you, once you know all these things, how do you go with the cash management? Cash management in the sense, sorry, implementation of financial controls. Implementation of financial control is your control devices. What type of devices you are using? Means, how are you going to plan? Do you have any budget planning? Did you plan for a budget? Are you calculating a marginal cost of break-even analysis? Or are you looking at any, how do you plan it? That's very important. Then any surplus, usage of surplus. Any surplus which is there, it has to be effectively utilized, efficiently and effectively utilized. The surplus in the business you need to use either for expansion, diversification, right? How are you using it? It's very important. Then we do come to the objectives of financial management. We'll see. Basically, the financial goals can be classified into two categories. One is specific objectives, one is general objectives. We look at the specific objectives. Specific objectives are profit maximization, wealth maximization, value maximization. The frequently asked question. What are the objectives of financial management? So we'll just see about profit maximization. As I said, specific is profit and wealth. We'll just see what do you mean by profit maximization. Profit maximization is getting maximum profit out of the business which we are doing. Generating maximum profit, right? Means you're experiencing best output. You're able to sell more, right? You're generating huge income. All this comes under your profit maximization. Every organization works for the main objective is profit. So they have to see that they earn profits. So here, the profits which are accumulated in the business, they help the business to overcome certain difficulties. Means whenever there's an up and down, if I put certain amount aside in reserves, I can use that reserve when we are in some problem. When we are in scarce, we can use that amount. So profit maximization, that's a primary objective of the organization and the primary yardstick also to measure the success. How is your business doing? I am earning good profit. My turnover is very good. So I say that is even a measurement of success. I have a successful business. What do you mean by success here? We are able to do well. So what do you mean by that? So we are measuring the success. The yardstick is profit. So what are the features of profit maximization? First one is it's maximization of business operations. Cash per share maximization means how much you are able to get a profit and what is the amount of profit which you are able to generate, right? And what are the possible ways which you can increase the profit? How many areas or revenues are there where you can generate profits? And then it helps to reduce the risk of the business. It increases the efficiency of the business. As I already told you, it is a basic parameter to to measure the success of the organization, measure the performance of the organization. Then it leads to exploitation of workers and consumers. Means sometimes in the race of my profit, I want to bring down my expenses. So expenses can be brought down. First thing basically is through workers or increase my price. Even that could be done. But will that lead to profit? It may have other repercussions. So it creates immoral practices. Means profit maximization just want to run to make profits, right? The business may follow certain corrupt practices in the process of earning huge profits. That leads to inequalities among the stakeholders. Inequalities such as the customers, suppliers, public, shareholders. Because you are only in the process of profit maximization. Whatever profit is coming, you want to keep that aside. You want to save it for a longer period. So what is happening in this process? You don't even declare dividend. You want to declare dividend, but only certain portion of it want to declare. Yes, sir. Hello.
No,
Any
ma'am, nothing. It was
problem,
no, ma'am. It was a background sound. Sorry to disturb you.
Right. So we'll just look at the net profit. It leads. It's a parameter of the business operation. It reduces the risk of the business concern. Am I audible and clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So it reduces the risk of the business, right, to meet the social needs. Then what are the advantages of profit maximization? Remember, this question would be like maybe they sometimes ask us distinguish between profit maximization, wealth maximization, or they may just ask you what are the advantages of profit max? What do you mean by profit maximization and advantage, disadvantages? Arguments in favor of profit and arguments against it. Only this may be asked. Or sometimes it is like, what are the objectives? You need to write both. So questions could be anywhere, but this is compulsory. You would get this in the exam. So what are the advantages? First is any company which looks at the maximization, it leads to maximizing the business concern, business operation. Then increase the profitability of the organization. Because I told you the parameter of success or performance of the business is profit. The more and more you are earning profit, that much more you could say that you are earning a good profit means the business is running successfully. Then helps to reduce the business risk. Then link between the financial decisions and profits. Then you will be able to achieve the goal, profit goal, attract the investors because the company is running in profits. Maybe many companies or many people would come forward to invest in the business. Then efficient use of funds, and it will give way to the business for expansion and diversification. We'll just see what are the disadvantages of it. When I talk about the disadvantages, first one is when I was telling you profit is a measure of performance, yardstick to measure the performance of the company. Absolutely, that alone is not the whole and soul. You have a number of things. You don't tell only this, it would be done. And then it ignores the time value of money, which is very important. And I'll tell you what is time value of money in this session, in today's session only. And then there is a difference between cash inflow and the net present value. This is also time value of money. It ignores risk. Risk in the sense, as I'm talking about time value of money, you never know what the overall impact would be. Right. It leads to inequalities among the shareholders and then lead to anxiety and frustration. Means we are in a hurry to make profits. So maybe wrong decisions would be taken. This would be a major disadvantage. We'll just see what could be the arguments in favor of profit maximization. When I talk about arguments, first one is the test of economic efficiency. In favor of why do we want profit maximization? First one is performance is measured, yardstick is profit. Then a company wants to make profit, surely it will look at how efficiently it is allocating its resources. Then social welfare means talking about all the stakeholders, right? Then internal resources for expansion. They would keep certain money aside, maybe expansion, diversification. So whatever it is, they could use that money further for these things. Then reduction in risk and uncertainty, because you have already planned out, kept certain amount of resources for undue contingencies. You have kept your reserves aside. So that risk or the uncertainty, maybe to a certain extent, you would be able to control your risk. More competitive, it is a desire for control, increase in confidence, attraction to the investors, and survival. Means you have once you are more aligned towards profit, what would you do? You want more and more of profits. Surely the organization would have a better sound control system. And getting profits automatically, people, would have that sense of pride and confidence in them that, yes, I'm able to do this business. I can do, even if I put in something else, I would make it a better way. Right? Attraction of the investors, as I already told you, once you're making profits, investors would come forward to invest in your business. And survival. Survival means even under unfavorable conditions, if we really plan out well, keep certain amount for contingencies, surely you will be able to come out of this crisis. What are the arguments against? Against profit maximization is, first one, we talk profit maximization, assuming perfect competition. But when we talk about perfect competition, economics, when I go to it, market structure, perfect competition is utopia. It is not something which we see it regularly. You don't see that. It's only an assumption of economists that everything should be perfect, but nothing is perfect. And then profit maximization, when I talk about business objective, the only thing is gather profit. Only thing is keep your funds aside. So if only that is the thing, it will be quite unrealistic and difficult. Right. And then profit maximization may tend to produce goods and services that are wasteful, that are not needed, right? And then waste substantially in terms of uh, cost. When I talk about technology, cost, capital, right? When I'm talking about truly price system, a competitive structure as such. So in a competitive structure, you don't tell you only can make profits. Because when I talk about a market which is monopolistic, everybody do get their share of profits. Then decision maker does not have the confidence, because if at all his estimates are wrong, if he is not able to make the future returns, he is not able to maximize profit under certain conditions, right? Then he would be losing his confidence. That is what Ratan Tata was talking in the circumstances of Corona, at the time of Corona. See, this is an year when Corona has come. He has told everyone that this is a year where you should not aim at making profits, but aim to be in the market, sustain in the market, be there in the market. You should not be thrown away from the market. You should be there, existing in the market. That's needed. So, and then it exploit workers and consumers. This is the first thing with profit maximization. Then we'll see what do you mean by wealth maximization. So when I talk about wealth maximization a process that current net value of the business or shareholder capital gains. The main objective is bringing the highest possible return. Means here involves making sound financial decisions. That is, I'm getting profits. Where am I again investing? Where I am diversifying? If I diversify, will the shareholders get a better return? Means suppose I say, you have profits, you are declaring dividends. Instead of profits here, you are investing in something else. You are not declaring dividend. You are investing in something else and say it will grow within a short period. Then, is that return more than the return that they give today? That you are able to give as a dividend, is that less than what they're going to earn tomorrow? If that is the case, wealth maximization works better. So what do you mean by wealth maximization? A gradual growth of the value of the assets of the firm. The value of the assets should increase. That is wealth. Means investment in other concerns, right? Your asset value should increase. This is called wealth maximization. And wealth maximization not only talks about this, but also, the shareholders amount by way of wealth. How? Suppose I say I buy a company shares which are very much rising. Automatically, what will happen? That amount, would really, when I'm investing in another company, I get a return from that also. Shareholders' money is being multiplied. So they are at most happy. Instead of getting profit, giving a 1 rupee dividend or 2 rupees dividend, 10 rupees dividend, you are investing in another company and you get a dividend of 30 to 40%. That's much better. Right? So what are the features of wealth maximization? So here when I talk about features, see, I'll talk about wealth maximization. The formula which I'm showing you, I'll talk about it with the time value of money. We'll just see what are the features of wealth maximization. So protection of interest of shareholders. As I already told you, shareholders' interests are protected. Shareholders' wealth is multiplied. That is wealth. Your share value in the market is very high. When I talk about a share value, just give small example. A person who has got up from coma, I think 2019 or 2018 February, I don't remember the year, but he could, after 20 years when he got out of coma, he was asking his grandchildren and grandchildren, like, what is that? I have kept some shares. I purchased some MRF shares long ago. Do you have that share? Do I get any benefit? When they calculated it, it went to a huge amount of 600 crores. Just imagine, this is wealth maximization. Means I want my share value to be increased in the market. All this comes under accumulation of the wealth. Then security to financial lenders. Security to financial lenders is a short-term and long-term financial lenders. Whoever are supplying money to you, capital to you, what is the return which you give to them? What is the security you give to them? That is very important. And so wealth maximization does that. Protection of interest to the employees. Employees contribution, that is the basic thing. How am I raising the wealth? Right, the productivity, efficiency. Am I able to fulfill the company's objectives? Okay, representative body of shareholders. Survival of management is the shareholders body, the management, the board of directors. How are the shareholders' interests protected? Right, and then interest of the society. What is that you give back to the society? Optimum and efficient use of the resources is itself giving back to the society. How better you are able to use the resources. All this comes in your wealth maximization. So we'll talk about the advantage of wealth maximization. First is we have to take the present value of money. What is the present value of money? I'll tell you now. In another few minutes, I'll tell you what present value and future value are. Then it is universally accepted, because everybody invests only with the hope that tomorrow my money would be double. Money lays eggs. That is the principle. I want my money also to lay eggs. Then it guides management in framing consistent, strong dividend policy. Because how much dividend would be there? What is that they're going to do? Is they're going to keep the money aside? Is it only in general reserve, or are they going to invest? If they're going to invest, in which instrument are they going to invest? All these are important. We'll just see what are the arguments in favor of wealth management. First is it is superior to profit maximization. Because it's improving the wealth or value of the shareholder. Then comparison value to the cost. As I told you, what is the total amount of benefit you're going to receive and what is the cost which you're spending on that. It provides efficient allocation of resources. Time and risk is calculated. Right, it is in the interest of the society. Then universally accepted, and then a strong dividend policy to see that maximum returns are given to the shareholders. When I talk about the unfavorable arguments are it is indirect name of profit maximization, because there we are only talking profit. This is an indirect is I'm only talking about profit maximization. When I talk about wealth maximization, I'm talking about profit. But in fact, the modern approach says that wealth is different, your profits are different. Profit, you may accumulate certain amount of profits, but all that may not be a right decision where you are invested. So even you should be able to generate money out of that, your benefits out of that. Then it can be activated with help of profitable position of the business, and then maximize shareholders' wealth. We look at the general objectives. General objectives are basic asset structure, liquidity. What is the structure of the asset? Right, size of the assets. Do you want to exploit more on investments of fixed assets? So what balance do you want to give? All would be done here. And then your unfavorable arguments are it is creating ownership and management, then enjoying certain benefits. It's nothing but profit maximization. Though some people say it is nothing but profit maximization. but both are different. It's not one and the same. So what are the general objectives? It is a balanced structure, balance between fixed and current assets. In the same way, we need to understand how the assets in the organizations are done. As I already told you, working capital management, fixed capital management, where you're going to invest it, what is the amount of return you get it. The liquidity means whenever you want to have cash to buy certain things for the regular business, if you don't have cash, then you have the wealth also. What is the use of it? So these things have to be taken care of. Then proper planning of fund, efficiency, financial discipline. Financial discipline, handling all your funds, proper discipline in maintaining the funds, planning out where you're going to invest, seeing what are the source of fund and what is the cost of capital which you have incurred. Based on this, we can find out what is the we'll go with the approaches. When I talk about approaches of financial management, basically we have two approaches, the traditional approach and the modern approach. When I talk about the traditional approach, it is the role of raising and administrating funds. From where source, as I already told you. Traditional approach only was talking about from where are you getting money? How do you manage those funds? How are you arranging those funds? All these things will come, how are you administrating it? So it ignores balancing of funds for routine problems. Non-corporate enterprises, it's ignoring. Allocation of resources is not much emphasis is laid on it, nor care taken. We'll see the modern approach. Modern approach talks about, acquisitions, not only source from where I acquire funds, but how am I using it? The allocation of funds, right? Where I'm going to use it, utilization, application of funds. So modern way is a more broader approach than your traditional approach. Then it concerns, it is a relationship between profitability and the volume of capital used. How much capital you're using, what is the amount of profit you are receiving. Then we'll just see. We'll just see. Anticipating what financial needs, right? By consulting and collection of documents, what does he do? What is he anticipating? First one is financial requirements. The finance manager should be able to understand, would be able to compute what is the amount of total finance he is going to want to start a business or to set up a business. Then acquiring financial resources, from where is he going to get it? How is he going to allocate it? How is he going to administer the allocation of funds? Analyzing the performance and reporting for the management. So these are the things which we talk about with the, why do we require financial management?
Excuse me, madam.
Yes, sir.
Madam, earlier we are not covered any problems, madam. We are so far covered only theoretic chapters only. Can you please explain these problems and others, madam?
Shall I stop it here? Shall I go to problems then?
Yes, madam. Earlier we are not covered any problems, madam. Still we are under confusion only.
Ma'am, in the
No
assignment
problem.
also, lot of problem sums
Fine.
have been given. We are
Ah.
unable to
Fine.
find
So
out the
theory
solution.
part,
Theoretic
will
part
you able
it is we can see from online also, madam.
Okay, done. So will you all be able to read the theory part?
Yes, ma'am, we can do it, ma'am.
Then shall I go to the problems?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
That's
Madam,
better,
please.
ma'am.
Right. One second. Yeah. I'll start the time value of money. I'll tell you what do you mean by time value of money. Money,
What?
when I take the concept of money, right? Today's money is more worth than tomorrow. I'll repeat it. today money is more worth than what will be tomorrow. Suppose I say in 150 rupees or 200 rupees, in 1960s, people used to run a family. In 20,000 also, we are not able to run a family today. Means in those days, 150 was equal to 20,000. You're able to get me?
Yes,
This
ma'am.
happens, yes, this happens as the value of money goes on decreasing. The value of money goes decreasing. So that may be due to various reasons. Financial management, we are not bothered to what the reasons are. But generally, if I talk about, inflation is one reason. Right, increase in prices. So whatever the reasons are, we have to see that the value of money is decreasing day by day. When I say the value of money is decreasing day by day, so I have to calculate, means whenever I say I want to invest. See, suppose you are going to invest your money in the bank, you are getting a return of 7%. When I say 7% is the amount of return, the return which you get on interest you get on the bank, right? So you will calculate now. How much would I get after 1 year? Is this better? 7% better? Or if I give it to a finance outsider, maybe he's giving 1 rupee per month, 12%, which is more. Okay.
12%.
So when I talk about this comparison, not only am I comparing today, but suppose I say after 5 years, you will get this much amount. If I get that amount, what is the value of it today? How do I look at that amount today? So whenever we talk about time value of money, remember the comparison should be, if you are taking the present value into consideration, means today's 1 lakh. If I say after 10 years you get today you invest 1 lakh, after 10 years or 5 years you'll get 5 lakhs. What is the value of 5 lakhs today? If I know that, I can compare with my 1 lakh. I'm investing 1 lakh, getting 5 lakhs. Yes, sir? Hello? Am I
Carry on,
audible?
madam. I think. Yes, madam. Carry on.
Continue,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. So what is the amount I get today? Means after 5 years, I'm getting 5 lakhs. I can't compare today's 1 lakh with that 5 lakhs. Absolutely wrong. Because my time value of money has to be taken into consideration. Then that 5 lakhs, what is the value of it today? If I can calculate that, I can compare with 1 lakh. Means 5 lakhs. What is the present value of 5 lakhs today? Tomorrow's 5 lakhs, what is the present value? If I can calculate that, say suppose it is 1,50,000. I am investing 1 lakh, I'll get 150. Is it worth or not? 50,000 more. I can invest, otherwise no. So anytime comparison should be, if I'm talking the present value, I should not compare future value with the present value. I have to bring the future value to present value and compare. Suppose I'm talking the future value. I know after so many years, I would get this much. After future value amount is this much. Or presently I'm investing 1 lakh. Is that equal to future value? What would that value be tomorrow? I have to find out the future value. So my time value of money talks about two things. Basically, it is compounding technique and discounting technique. Compounding, future value. Whenever I talk about my future value, I'm talking about compounding technique. Future value. I have to make my 1 lakhs into 5 lakh. How would I do that? I have to multiply my money. Remember this. Future value, multiplication. How would I get my future value? Only if I multiply today's amount, I will get a future value. What is present value? If I divide the value, future value, I will get my present value. So future value is compounding. Compounding means multiplication. Present value, discounting. Present value is discounting. Means 5 lakhs I'll get after 5 years. What is the value of today? I have to decrease the value of that. If I have to decrease, I'm dividing. Right. So in this, we basically have 4 tables, which we call it as table A, table B, table C, table D. Suppose I say, I take my future value. In future value, I have 2, compounding value, discounting value, I have 2. Future or compounding, technique, I'll have two methods. Discounting method, I'll have two methods. In compounding method, what are the two methods I have? One which is an uneven cash flow. One is even cash flow. What is uneven cash flow? Means today I'm investing 1 crore on a house. How much rent I am going to get? So say every year I'll get 20,000 per year. So 20,000 is yearly income. It is even. Uneven is today I may get 20. Next year I may get 30. That next year I may get 40. Sometimes I may get only 30. This is uneven. So in both the techniques, we have even cash flows, we have uneven cash flows. In uneven cash flows, in uneven cash flows, you have, we calculate, just we take the normal table, which is called as present value table or future value table. But in even cash flows, you call it as annuity table. What do you mean by annuity? I get 10,000 across 10 years. Every year I get 10,000. So 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 for 10 years. The amount is same. I can find annuity table. I can look this into annuity table, which is called even cash flows or annuity table. So in future value, I have two things. One is uneven cash flows, one is even cash flows. Even cash flows is called annuity, uneven is the normal table which we see. So how do we calculate future value? Future value, the formula is your cash flow into 1 plus r to the power of n. R is the rate of interest. Future value is 1 plus r to the power of n. Your present value. Yeah, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
future value is equal to present value into 1 plus r to the power of n. Or don't put it as present value, take it as cash flow. Cash flow into 1 to the 1 into 1 plus r to the power of n, where r is the rate of interest. So whatever is the rate of interest, suppose I say my money is compounded by 10%. So I'll take 1 plus 10%. 0.10. That is how I take. Okay. Into the power of n. I calculate for how many years I'm doing. I'll calculate that. That is called future value. Then suppose I say we will go with some problems in this. Time value of money, you will have problems. You would have problems. They're very small and very easy to solve. Don't skip it out. Right? Because what did I tell you? The formula is future value into cash flow into 1 plus r to the power of n. Right? So we can look into tables for the values, or if you have a calculator, I'll tell you in 2 minutes how the technique has to be taken. Do
Yes,
you
ma'am,
have a
please tell me.
calculator with you all?
Okay, madam.
Do you have it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Nana, అందరి దగ్గర ఉన్నాయా calculators ఇప్పుడు మీ దగ్గర అందరూ ఉన్నాయా సార్?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am, we have.
ఏంటండి?
Yes, ma'am, we have the calculator.
Right. I'll just tell you how to calculate, because tables are generally not given. Suppose I say, now look at this problem. We find out the future value of sum of 2,000 after a year with a time preference of 12%. So my amount is 2,000, cash flow is 2,000, and my rate of interest is 12% or 0.12. So it is 1.12 to the power of 1. Okay, so 2,000 into 1.12. But if I have to calculate it for 10 years, how do I know the rate of interest? Okay, so how do I do is, it is 1.12, 1 into 1.12 into, you just press into, you'll get a value. That is the first year. Into, again, you get the second year. Into, you get the third year. Into, you get the fourth year. You'll get the rate. You'll get that rate. Means if at all they're not giving a table in the exam, you can directly do the problem. You don't have to worry about the tables. You can just multiply, you'll get the years.
మేడం
చెప్పండి.
ఇది ఈచ్ టైం ఒక్కొక్కటి ప్రెస్ చేసుకుంటే వెళ్ళాలి కదా మేడం. ఒకేసారి 4
అవునండి.
ఇయర్స్ కాలిక్యులేట్ చేసుకోవాలంటే మేడం.
మీరు అది యాన్యుటీ తీసుకోవాలండి, అప్పుడైతే మీకు టేబుల్ చూసుకోవడమే కరెక్ట్.
అవునా మేడం? ఎందుకంటే
యాన్యుటీ అంటే టేబుల్
ఒక్కొక్కసారి 10 ఇయర్స్
రావాలండి.
కి 20 ఇయర్స్ కి ఇస్తారు కదా మేడం. అప్పుడు
యాన్యుటీ అంటే మీకు 10 years 20 years 25 years అది మటుకు టేబులే చూసుకోవాలండి. కానీ మీకు
మేడం
1 year 5 years ఇప్పుడు అన్ఈవన్ ఉందనుకోండి, ఫస్ట్ ఇయర్
మేడం
2000 వచ్చింది, సెకండ్ ఇయర్
అవును
3000, థర్డ్ ఇయర్
మేడం
4000 ఇలా వచ్చింది అనుకోండి, మీరు ఎలా
మేడం.
ప్రిపేర్ చేయాలి అంటే ఒక్క నిమిషం చూపిస్తాను. మీరు ఇలా వేసుకోవాలండి టేబుల్. మీకు ఇది కనిపిస్తే ఇట్లా ఇలా చేయాలి. మీకు ఫ్యూచర్ వాల్యూ డిస్కౌంటింగ్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ ఇట్లా టేబుల్ లాగా వేసుకుంటాం. 3 కాలమ్స్ ప్రిపేర్ చేస్తాం టేబుల్. 3 కాలమ్స్ ఎలా వేస్తామంటే, ఒక కాలం ప్రెసెంట్ వాల్యూ,
పూర్తిగా కనిపించట్లేదు.
వస్తున్నాను. So I'll put as, say, the number of year in the first column. Once I do the year, the amount I am receiving in the year, then I prepare a discounting factor or a compounding factor. It can be any. If it is future value, I call it as compounding factor, future value. I call it as future values. If it is present value, I'll go with the discounting factor. I'll put the discounting factor. And then the fourth one would be, if I'm calculating future value, I'll calculate net future value. If I'm calculating present value, I'll calculate as net present value. This will be how my table would occur. 4 things would be my table. So, pardon?
Madam, ఏం కనిపించట్లేదు. We are unable to see, madam.
Okay. అదేంటి వైట్ బోర్డ్ కనిపించాలి మీకు?
మేడం, ఓన్లీ ఒక బుక్ కనిపిస్తుంది మేడం.
బుక్ కాదండి, నేను టేబుల్ వేస్తున్నాను. టేబుల్ ఎందుకు వైట్ బోర్డ్ మార్కర్ కనిపించాలి?
బుక్ మాత్రం రొటేట్ చేసి.
ఓకే సార్, ఇప్పుడు ఇది చూడండి. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఎలా వేస్తానంటే 1 year 2 years 3 years 4 years ఇలా ఉంది కదా. సో ఫస్ట్ ఇయర్ కి ఒక్క నిమిషం ఉండండి. ఇప్పుడు మనం ఇలా వేసుకోవాలి సార్ టేబుల్. ఫస్ట్ థింగ్ ఇది మనకి అమౌంట్ ఎంత వస్తుందో అంత, అంటే యువర్ క్యాష్ ఫ్లో, వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇస్ యువర్ క్యాష్ ఫ్లో ఇక్కడ రాసుకుంటాం. Pardon?
Telugu will not understand, ma'am.
Right. So first column you would write the cash flow, the amount of cash flow which you are going to receive, and in the second column you will write the discounting factor, or you will write the present value, future value factor. The third column is multiply these two and put an amount here. So suppose I say you are having a monthly of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 is what your cash flows are. You have to calculate for, say, a discounting factor, present future value is future value factor. So how do you say? It is 1.12 interest. So first year it will be 1.12. Second year how much? Third year how much? Fourth year how much? Based on that, you can calculate and you can write it. But the only thing which you have to remember when you're taking the future value is, see, if you're doing a problem, this would be like this. Future value problems. Yeah, this would be like this. 1000 into 1 plus 0.09 by to the power of 4, power of 3, power of 2. So when you're doing this, remember only point in present. This is, I'll tell you how to calculate the present values. Suppose you are calculating, this is the future value. And in present value, the formula is cash flow into 1 by 1 plus r to the power of n. A future value, it is cash flow into 1 plus r to the power of n. This is what is the difference. Future value, it is multiplication, and in present value, it is division. So whenever you want to do any problem, generally the cash flows are given, the discounting factors or compounding factors are given. You have to multiply and find out the value of future value or the present value. But how do you calculate when you are putting it in a calculator? Right? Suppose I say for 4 years, you are calculating future value. Remember, the first year, whatever today you are investing, beginning of the year you have invested. Say in the month of January 2023, you are investing 5,000. After 4 years, what is the value? Remember why I tell you it is beginning of the year and end of the year. Beginning of the year means your amount full you have given to, suppose you have given 1 lakh rupees to me as interest. So from January to December, I have to pay for the whole year. Are you all with me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Got it, ma'am.
So if it is at beginning of the year, remember, we will get, where for 12 months we'll get. If it is at last of the year ending, we will not get anything. Why? Only next year I can get, not this year. If I give 1 lakh rupees to you as a loan, if I'm giving it in January, whole year I'll get the interest. If I'm giving it in the month of December, will I get anything? I will not. So beginning of the year and end of the year matters a lot. Beginning of the year means if you have given the cash flow is in the beginning of the year, then you have to put it as 0 year and calculate. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it is end of the year, you put 1 and calculate. 1 may, what is the present value or future value? It is 0. It's 1, not 0, but 1. Second year, suppose a 10% present value. It is 0.909. Third year, it is 0.881 or something. Fourth year, 0.821, if I'm not wrong. These are the values which we get for 10%. If it is present value. Future value, remember, fourth, you are investing in 2023. 4 years, your amount is there. You will write from the year to year. You are able to get me? Ikkada nunchi ikkadiki reverse order lo rayalandi meeru. You have to write the amount factor table from this end to this. In present value, write 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you will write 4, 3, 2, 1. Because this amount is there for 4 years. Next year amount is for 3 years. Next year amount you will have it for 2 years. So whenever you are finding out, like I told you in the calculator, how do you have to find out? If you are having a calculator, present value it is 1 into 1.12 or 1 into 1.10. Again into, again into, again into. So your interest, how will it come? Suppose it is 1.10 if I take, it is 1. Here it is 1.12. Something will come here. Next it will be here. Next it will be here. I'll go in this order. That is the only difference. But you can multiply directly and find out. Add all these things, you'll get the future value, the present value. Future value, present value, sums are must. You once today, what you'll do is, I told you all to look at the factor table. You have the factor table behind. Actually,
Yes,
every textbook says, if you have it in your textbook, once check it out.
Okay.
Or once, pardon?
No factor table, madam, in our
Ma'am, it has been dispatched by Sir Anand sir. He has given them. The factor table has been given.
Pardon. You know, now in exam centers, nobody is giving it, sir.
No, ma'am. Sir has previous teacher has already given, ma'am. The factor tables has been provided to us.
Okay, you are
Has
having the
given it
table
from
with
the
you.
yeah, ma'am. I do have the
Okay,
carbon copy.
then once you know you have 4 tables have been given to you.
Ma'am, let me check it out.
Yes. So one table is present value, one is present value at annuity, one is future value at annuity.
Hmm.
You can check it around se check karo, don't worry. You'll have 4 tables. So whenever you get an uneven cash flow, you have to calculate either present value or future value. If it is
Yes,
an
ma'am.
even cash flow, we go with annuity tables.
Yeah, ma'am.
So that-
4 tables has been given, ma'am. Present
Yes.
value table, annuity table, that was has been given. Yes, ma'am.
Correct. Annuity table will go for even cash flows.
Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
the normal tables are when uneven cash flows are there. So you'll have 2 annuity tables, you'll have 2 normal tables. One is present value, one is present value annuity. One is future value, one is future value annuity.
Okay.
Okay. So present
ma'am.
value, whenever your sum is given as discounting, net present value, you have to use present value factor. If that is uneven cash flows, means first year 2000, second year 3000, third year 4000, it is uneven. Follow table present value uneven normal table. If the amount is same, it's 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Follow present value annuity table. Suppose you want to find out future value, same thing again in future value also. So what I can do is I'll just stop here because my class has come to an end. You just try these problems. If at all you are not, you have not got it, you can message it to me. I can again put some problems, solve some problems and send it to you.
Yeah, ma'am. Sure.
Madam, kindly share some problems, madam.
Kindly
Ma'am, we
search,
got some. Ma'am, we got some problem sums in the assignment. I have done that one, but still I am having some kind of confusion over there.
no
So, ma'am, I'll
problem, sir.
send you the. Ma'am, I'll send you
Once
the
take
sums.
my please kindly, sirs, take my phone number. You can WhatsApp me. I will just clarify to whatever you have.
Yeah, ma'am. Sure. I have already done the sums. Still, I have some confusion over there.
No
Because
problem.
in
What
one
we
of the
can do
question
is,
they have given assume 10% of risk-free trade. So, ma'am, what is risk-free trade?
pardon?
They have given one question, and the question is like, what is the project? They have given one value. Okay, ma'am. The initial investment was 50,000, and thereafter year followed by the amount of 25,000, 20,000, 10,000, and 10,000. What is the project NBV? Assume 10% risk-free rate. Ma'am, what is risk-free rate over here?
Risk-free rate is, that is what 10% is. That is what is the discounting factor which you have to calculate.
Okay.
I told you the factor value we have to put. So
Acha,
10% factor value, we have to find out 10% factor value. So what you'll have, first year 0.909, second
yeah,
year
second year
0.881.
826.
Yeah, then yes, it continues.
Yeah, exactly, ma'am. So
So
after
you
that,
can
the third
take
column will be discounting cash flow. Am I right, ma'am? First one will be the
Correct.
original cash flow. Second one
Correct.
will be the discounting factor at 10%. And the
Correct.
third column will be this discounting cash flow, right, ma'am?
Right. Correct.
Thereafter, will we put net present value equal to total discounted cash flow minus original investment.
Correct.
Ma'am, and the amount will come down. So that is done, right, ma'am?
Correct. Now, how do you do it? What is the decision criteria? If your NP, whatever the net present value you have received is more than, is a positive value, you're going to accept this. If you get is a negative value, you're going to reject it. If it is equal to 0, it is up to you whether you have to take or not. That's the decision criteria.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
That's how you take. So what you do is you take my phone number. You can
Yeah,
just
ma'am, please,
WhatsApp to me.
Yes, ma'am. Please. Ma'am, can you share your number, please?
Yes. It is 7660
7660
80
80
4619.
4619.
Yeah.
Your
You can
your
just
good name, madam?
message me. Pardon?
Your good name, madam?
I'm Rajavalli.
Thank you, madam.
So you can just message me. I will
Yeah.
help you out with any other things.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your concern.
Right.
Thank you.
Hello, Malik. Malik,
Yeah, please tell me.
where do you find that problem? Just now you asked about my.
This fine they have given in the assignment. I have done this one. Nothing it is there. It's very easy. This one I have seen. Whatever the formula Ananta has given, all it is there, inclusion of that. But some of the problem, he has make it down very complicated. I'm not getting able to understand that one. I think so. I need to visit university once. So that's the reason. Let's see. We'll check it out. No problem. We'll work accordingly.
Okay.